I've been a diver for 18 years, open water instructor with the British Tobacco Club. I've always been aware of what the RNLI do, but I've never had such a personal experience as on that day in Abersoch. I'd gone out to have a last day sailing of the season. The conditions were great for it. Just set off from the shore, I was clearing some shallow water. I was on a run with the wind behind me off the beach out to sea. I was going at a fair lick and it was fantastic fun. I was thinking, what a good day. As I was adjusting the dagger board, but before I knew what else had hit me, the boom had swung right round, hit me full in the face, and the boat capsized. Don't really remember anything about the jibe, just hearing the thunk of the boom on my head, and then finding myself underwater. The first thing I really knew was being underwater, surfacing under the sail, and there just being a lot of blood. I realised straight away I'd broken my nose. The boom had hit me quite hard in the face. So I swam round to the other side of the boat, pulled the dagger board right out, righted the boat, got back on board. So in an instant it had gone from having fantastic fun to not being the way I'd planned it. And then I spent 5 or 10 minutes trying to get the rigging back into the boom that had come loose. I'd pulled it out with my feet as I was getting back on board. All the time I'm drifting out to sea. There's white horses in the sea outside the bay. I noticed at that time as well that I had quite a big gash on my forehead, and I could just see that things were going from bad to worse. And at that point I decided that I'd call for help. I was shaking, really, shaking like a leaf. I guess by that time I knew I wasn't in any life-threatening situation, but I'd been very shaken up by the whole experience, and I definitely needed help at that point. I always carry a mobile phone in my life jacket in a waterproof bag, and that's what I used to call the Coast Guard. It was remarkable. I go scuba diving. I know how long it takes to launch a rib. The guys were with me in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, absolutely maximum, but it seemed a lot shorter than that, and that was whilst I was waiting. They were great. I called the Coast Guard. They scrambled the lifeboat. In the meanwhile, I noticed that there was a boat moored up in the bay, so I kind of headed for that and tied myself to it to stop myself drifting further out. And then the guys from the Abersoch station arrived, but I've never been so relieved to see anybody in my life. The guys took control of the situation. They were very calming, very reassuring, kind of cleaned my head up a little bit, got me on board the rib. I was quite concerned that my wife and children might be seeing all this on the beach and panicking. And again, the cox just said, "Well, look, we'll take it really easy. There's nothing life-threatening. We'll tootle back into the bay, and they'll know from that there's no emergency." So that's what we did. And there was an ambulance then came and took me for some treatment. And then the guys were good enough to go back out and bring the boat in, which was a bonus. As I say, I can't thank the guys enough, really. Incredibly professional. I've met the guys since, and I was quite humbled, really, that they were more concerned about how I thought they dealt with the situation, and I was, I'm here. So it's, I just can't thank them enough, really. I'd like to think that it wasn't due to any lack of training. As I say, I've 18 years experience as a diver. I'm a British Tobacco Club diver coxswain, RYA powerboat level 2. I did the RYA level 1 and 2 training with sailing. I just think that, despite the best plans, what happened to me happened in an instant. So I think it can happen to anybody, really. You just need to try and be prepared for the worst. Obviously, it makes every sense to get training, and I think to know what to. The benefit of the training, I think, is to know what to do when things do start to go wrong and how to deal with those situations. I guess the training that I've had, reinforced in me that, let somebody know where you're going, carry some means of calling for help if you need to, even on a nice sunny day when you think nothing can go wrong. Unfortunately, that's when it can go wrong. I always wear a life jacket, and I know that might sound like the right thing to say, but I just always wear a life jacket. Just gives that extra bit of buoyancy just to keep your head above the water. I think it has been a life-changing experience. It's definitely not put me off going afloat. All my family, we're still out on the water most weekends. Still go scuba diving, still go sailing. It's made me a little bit more aware of my own mortality, and I guess a little bit more aware of what's important in life as well. I've always done a bit of running as well. I've run the Great North Run last year, and I'm doing it again this year to try and raise funds for the RNLI. And just as much trying to spread the message that you know, they rely upon voluntary donations to be around, and just try and encourage people to support them. I guess it would be difficult for people not to understand who the RNLI are, but I think a lot of people misunderstand that it's entirely funded by voluntary contributions. The number of people that I've spoken to who are surprised at that still surprises me. So it's only by people's goodwill and generosity that that the guys are around to be on hand when things do go amiss at sea. I think the other thing that always humbles me as well is that the volunteers are exactly that. They're volunteers. They give up their time not just to come out on a shout, which might, you know, get adrenaline running, but it's all the time that they spend training, doing lifeboat open days, and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. That I don't think people realise how much these guys give. I'm still sailing in Pico. Yeah. It's not put me off. I guess it's just one of those things you try and learn from, put down to experience, and then just get on with it.